6:46 on the clock this morning. As you're watching us this morning, maybe scrolling through your social media feeds, liking photos of your friends' kids or posting photos or videos of your own.
That's right. Essentially, that's what social media is all about, staying connected to the ones we love. But how much is too much when it comes to sharing pictures of your own kids? Will what you post online today come back to haunt your kid later? Here's what I found out.
Grew up in the age where social media exploded. I'm talking AOL Instant Messenger, MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, now known as X. I could go on. But once the millennials and so-called social media generation started having kids of their own, they ended up sharing a lot of photos and videos of their kids online. And not a lot has changed.
Along with being a law professor, I'm also a mom and I'm a photographer. And I love documenting everyday moments with my own kids. But because I'm a law professor specializing in children's rights, I recognize that kids might not always be okay with how parents talk about them online.
Stacy Steinberg is the director of the University of Florida Levin College of Law's Center on Children and Families. Her research focuses on a parent's right to share and a child's right to privacy.
You know, I think that as kids get older, they'll recognize that they have some privacy rights too, and courts will have to weigh in on how to balance that with their parents' rights to share.
In Professor Steinberg's book, Growing Up Shared, she talks about how parents should avoid sharing embarrassing personal stories or videos. For instance, the TikTok craze of parents throwing pieces of cheese on their babies to make them stop crying.
You know, sometimes it's, pretty harmless, but it's kind of a good reminder that the stuff that we put out there, whether it's throwing the cheese or eating the quesadillas, it's funny in the moment, but it might not be as funny a decade later.
As for any repercussions parents could face in terms of their child's digital footprint,
I think that we are just on the cusp of the kids who kind of grew up shared coming of age and kind of recognizing how much has been shared about them. But so far, there haven't been cases where kids have taken their parents to court for the kinds of oversharing that we might see on our social media news feeds.
Professor Steinberg says most parents are just proud of their kids, but they should exercise caution before they post.
I set off writing the book thinking it would make me never want to share again, but I do still share. I talk to my kids before sharing. Sometimes my kids come to me asking me to share, one of their accomplishments. I try to ask my kids before I share just so that they can kind of be part of the decision-making process.
As they should be. And parents, don't throw cheese at your babies.
Oh, I'm suing my parents for every dime if they threw cheese at me.
Right.
Every dime.
So horrible.
That's so horrible.
Professor Steinberg reminds us that photos and videos can easily get into the hands of wrong people as well. And of course, we know with AI and now things nowadays, it can be bad.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
So now when it comes to when your kid is old enough to be online on their own, more states, including Minnesota, are actually looking to make the World Wide Web a safer place. I actually sat down with State Representative Kristen Bonner, who introduced the Age-Appropriate Design Code bill during the last legislative session. Essentially, the bill would bring a product safety approach to what kids and teens are using online.
We do this in every other arena, right? So we do this for cribs and different car seats. We even do it for motor vehicles, but we've never applied a safety lens to online products for children. And I think that we can all imagine when you talk to parents across the spectrum, and it does not matter what your political ideology is, this transcends. 80 to 90% of parents are begging legislators to act, to do something to create better, safer products for their kids online.
Representative Bonner says instead of putting the pressure on parents to become tech experts, the Age-Appropriate Design Code bill, if it's passed this next legislative session, would put pressure on companies to design safer products to begin with. So if you'd like to read more about this bill or more about the story, we do have it posted at KARE11.com. But all good things to keep in mind as we're getting into the holiday season and you're around kids, sharing photos, ask them for permission for sure before you post.
And if you think ahead, to the future and you're like, I don't know if this is going to make my kid look good 10 years down the line, maybe don't post it.
Don't do it.